Okay, thank you, Andy. Sorry we couldn't give you more time for that. It looked really quite interesting. Okay, Nick's talk is about root servers as well. Tim Preston from Lynx is going to be talking specifically about the Bird root server that Andy referred to in his talk.
Hello. We've seen some stuff about root servers and seen some of the scaling issues. Hopefully a bit of an operational perspective on what we've been doing to try and move forward. Okay. Quick overview, in case you just don't know. We've got 2 peering LANs, we've got 2 root servers, 1 per site per LAN, so we've got physical resilience. The big issue we've got is that they're all running Quagga, or were. So we have one software platform. When we see issues, it's going to hit all of them, really. Quagga, scaling issues, we're really becoming a problem for us at Lynx. Quagga does chew quite a lot of resources, particularly when it's converging sessions. And one of the issues we get is that peers do flap, and particularly as well we get peers will leak. And of course that trips lots of max prefixes at the other end for people to max prefixes set on the root server sessions, which loads the box up more. And one of the big problems with Quagga is once it gets busy, it stops responding to BGP keeper lives, which drops more sessions, which makes it busier. And it's gone. It's not coming back until you kill it and start it back up again. And unfortunately, Quagga has reached a point where it can't actually restart itself anymore. Someone has to sit there and physically bring up sessions in batches because it just cannot converge the whole set of sessions at once. It won't do it. It'll just die. So we looked at some options. We could take Quagga and we could strip it down to a single rib, but as we've already seen in previous presentations, that's not ideal. That won't give us the functionality we need. So that wasn't really an option. We could do OpenBGPD. OpenBGPD doesn't support its full feature set unless you're running it at OpenBSD. Particularly, it doesn't do MD5 authentication. Some of the members want MD5, so really, we don't want to do that. So, Bird. We tried 1.13, and it wedged at 200 peers and 26K prefixes. That's not enough. But, you know, in the end, we decided we'll go with that. And the main issue is that we got that issue fixed in 24 hours. We got the scaling problem removed, or at least at that particular level. So we hopefully had a platform we could go forward with. It's got good multiple rib support. It's part of the design goals. It does work. One of the nice things about it is that the CLI actually is a separate process that talks to the main routing daemon through a Unix domain socket, so that even if the main routing daemon is flat out, you might not get a response to it from your query, but you can actually type at it. You can actually, you know, you've got some confidence the whole box hasn't just disappeared on. So, last Friday morning, we deployed Bird 1.17, only for IPv4 peering at the moment, so Quagga's still on IPv6 peering, on RS1, which is one of the root servers on the Brocade network, on the main busy peering LAN. And the principle being, we put it on the busiest one because if it didn't work there, it was no use to us anyway. We needed that to work. And we brought it up, and pretty much we brought it up and sat and watched it, and it worked. We didn't really have to do much. Did it help? Yes, it works. It's much more stable than Quagga was so far, although obviously it's not been up for much time. It's using a lot less resources. It can just start. It starts up all its sessions, and by the time you've looked at it, it's converged. It's very quick compared to what we've been used to. We can restart it. That's a big bonus, particularly if it crashes. And we actually reckon it's performing better in the LAN than we were expecting based on the lab testing. One interesting quirk is we've actually seen the number of active prefixes on the root server go up from 29,000 to approximately 37,000. I'll come on to that in a bit more later. Here's a quick little graph. CPU usage mainly. Looking at Quagga. Quagga, you can see one of the nasty spikes in the middle. I'm not entirely certain what that was. These are both from the operational live servers. Quagga does chew those resources. If we can see that Bird's quite happy to go up to 100% CPU, that's good. It's busy, it's converging when peers come up, or flap, or whatever. One thing to notice is it's going to 105% CPU approximately, because there is more than one thread, I believe. The nice thing is it just settles down and goes back to basically 0 CPU on the box. And we're actually showing memory on that one as well, and in operation we've seen it keep completely flat as well. It's just not using any memory, it's not leaking, it's not growing. So what do we do next? We've got to understand that increase in active prefixes, because it's a little bit interesting that we suddenly gained a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't there before. We're thinking at the moment it was something to do with Quagga not having them in it, rather than Bird has magically generated prefixes out of thin air. The ribs all appear to be valid, it all appears to be there. So, IPv6, we'd like to get Bird running on IPv6. I believe we need to test a patch for that. Bird works completely differently than Quagga. We haven't really got the internal processes completely down for that yet, so we're a bit slow adding, removing peers, changing stuff. So we're going to be a bit slow responding to things for the moment. Sorry about that. Longer term, because one of our primary goals for this was to stabilize the root servers, ideally we'd have had a lot of the tools in place before we deployed Bird, but we really need to get it live, get this situation fixed. So we've got to fix some of the internal tools, we've got to get the stats being collected actually from the daemon. We're collecting stats off the box to see how that's doing, but we want some more instrumentation. Our root server Looking Glass currently can't talk to Bird. We've been talking about that actually today, and I think we can get something done on that. We'd like to employ the improved version of Quagga that we're hoping to get out the Euro IX initiative, so that going forward we'll have a diverse platform, so that we're still going to have issues, but hopefully we're not going to see them across every single platform we're running, and we can keep at least one server there and running. And also that gives us the choice, of course, to look at the two different platforms running and decide whether it's sensible to carry on with a resilient, diverse platform, or in fact, because that's actually more work to run, we are going to plump with one and stick with the one that looks best. I think that's it. Any questions?
Hi. Hello. Sorry. Yeah, Nick Hilliard from Minix. Just to comment on the Quagga thing, it sure as hell scales really badly, and there's been an awful lot of trouble. In defence of the sort of from the Quagga point of view, the problems that the IXPs started experiencing were onset as a result of a typical performance need. Things worked reasonably well until a certain stage, and then all hell broke loose one day, literally. And that was at the stage where you could no longer restart the box. So I mean, there wasn't a huge amount of warning that this was going to happen, sort of from one day to the next. And the Quagga developers were not necessarily made aware of this immediately. Now, I mean, I think this situation has been remediated at this stage, and there is active development in Quagga to try and sort it out. But there is a long way to go with the system. So so it's there's sort of a feeling out there. There's a lot of bad blood towards Quagga. Maybe it's not as bad as people think. It certainly works for us very well.
We're certainly intending, if we can get a slightly better code base to carry on with it for the moment, certainly, and we may well move back to it if it proves to beat Bird in the long run, I guess.
Yeah, Mike Hughes, Links. Just let me add to something that Tim was saying. The EuroIX initiative has actually got a programmer that's engaged with the Quagga development community and is actually doing work on the internals of Quagga, trying to deal with some of the fundamental problems that were causing it issues to scale, causing it issues with scaling, both particularly in how the IXPs were deploying it, but also in just other general deployments as well, where there was some more complexity. And that's focused on separating out some of the locking issues that were effectively causing it to not answer BGP keeper lives, that sort of thing. So, one thing that we can consider doing is when that change code becomes available, we can consider maybe running it on one of the pair and actually getting it exposed to real actual production type load. one of the things that we find from the lab testing is things can either perform worse or perform better. In fact, what we found was Bird was performing better in the production load than lab load, obviously because in the lab what you're simulating is slightly different. Just the other thing regarding testing as well is if people were interested in the stuff that Andy was talking about in the previous talk, the NANOG meeting, which is happening in Austin in Texas at the end of February. You don't have to come. I'm fairly sure this particular session will be webcast. There's going to be a session there where the developer from Bird is going to be doing a talk, and also Chris from Switch and Data and Elisa from AMSIX will be talking in more detail about the root server lab that was run at Lynx, and there may be some other material as well yet to be confirmed. But I'm actually running that track, leading that session at the NANOG meeting in February, if people are interested. So I'll ask NANOG support if there's interest here amongst this audience to make sure that it's in a room that is going to be webcast at least by audio and hopefully by video as well.
Okay. Couple of questions from the IRC room, which may have been partially answered already, but I'll put them anyway. First one is, why did it go from 29K prefixes to 36K?
We'd love to know.
Okay.
We're going to investigate that. We need to properly get the time. Obviously, we only got it live Friday morning. As I say, we've got it live in a way earlier than we wanted. We haven't got all the instrumentation there we'd like to, so there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're trying to do. And obviously, that's one of the things we are going to go and take a look at.
Oh, hang on. Apparently, Andy has an answer for that.
Yeah, this happened when Andy from LANAP. AMSIX got the same thing, but they deliberately coded in logic when they swapped from Quagga to OpenBGP. They used to have the community system in place that meant you had to send the, community 6777:6777 if you wanted it to go to, if you wanted a prefix to be sent to all root server participants. The same as I think it's 8914:8914, is it on the Lynx one? You have to send that community if you want to send the prefix to all other participants. If that logic isn't there, and no communities sent have the same logic as the 8914:8914 community, then that will cause more prefixes to become eligible for sending to all of the peers. And that's probably a good thing, because when AMSIX did this as well, but intentionally wrote that in, they got a jump of about 10,000 prefixes because people didn't realise they had to send 6777:6777.
Okay, that's useful. I should take a look at that when I get back to the office.
Okay, and the other question from the IRC room from Marty was, what kit are you running on in terms of CPU and memory?
I honestly don't know. I've not been at Lynx very long, and I'm still trying to find out how everything works.
Someone give Mike a mic.
They're fairly bog standard HP Proliant DL350s, I think. Pair of dual core Opterons. 8 gig of memory. So yeah, not massively crazy computing power.
Okay, are we done with questions? Okay, thanks, Tim. Okay, so we're done with DNSSEC and root servers.